Now don't get me wrong, I am very excited for Wave 3 as a whole. However, in terms of remakes, 2 tracks have stood out to me in terms of amplifying the original track, making it feel like a brand new track, or just adding some Mario Kart 8 flavour to it. First of all, we got to talk about Boo Lake. Now obviously comparing Boo Lake in 8 Deluxe to the original, I mean the differences are night and day, and obviously it's due to limitations of the hardware, but I mean this is just one of those things where it's just a completely different track. We've seen this time and time again in Mario Kart 8 with the other GBA tracks such as Mario Circuit, and even in this DLC, Snow Land, which was one of my favourite tracks in Wave 2. They didn't just copy and paste the original outline of the track and call it a day. They gave the track some anti-gravity, and on top of that, because it's called Boo Lake, they flooded the track. And guess what? We get to drive in the flood. That makes too much sense, and it just takes this stage to a whole nother level. I really like the background, it's very creepy and it reminds me of Luigi's Mansion. Hopefully a track that we'll get soon in this DLC. And even though the trailer didn't reveal this, I'm assuming that the music is going to be amazing for this. 8 Deluxe has not held back when it came to the remixes of older tracks, and I can imagine that the music is going to sound eerie, sinister and creepy as we drive on this track, I guarantee it. Now obviously looking at this track at face value, it's very clear that it's been revamped by 1000, but even when you slow down and look at the minor details like adding fish bones to the underwater section of this track, and even how high up the water is in this level to obviously complement the name of the track, this is such an impressive retro track already, and we haven't even played it yet. You see Peach Gardens, yeah? What do I even say here? This is just the prettiest it's ever been, and it's added so much more character and liveliness to this track. Before, all of the bushes looked lifeless and oddly shaped, but now they're actually modelled like actual Mario characters, and it actually gives me a lot of Daisy Circuit vibes in that regard. Now I know that this DLC loves its high contrast. I know it's very controversial amongst the Mario Kart community. For me personally, I like it a lot, and it works so well in this remake. Like, the colors just pop, and it really reminds me a lot of 3D World. Not to mention they added water fountains that was not in the original or the Wii version. Again, just casually adding some new details here and there. And something that I'm starting to notice as I rewatch the gameplay for Peach Gardens more and more, it seems like Peach Gardens is going against a lot of the complaints I've been having with this booster course pass. Some tracks feeling a little bit narrow, this looks pretty spacious. Lack of details on some of the tracks, this is definitely one of the more detailed looking tracks in this booster course pass. And back in Wave 1, Sky Garden got this wrong, and that's lack of identity. This is still very recognizable as Peach Gardens, and I can imagine that when we race on it when it comes out, it will still feel like Peach Gardens. So overall, I would say that these are the 2 tracks from Wave 3 that have impressed me the most in terms of taking one track and transforming it. This doesn't necessarily mean that I prefer Boo Lake over Maple Treeway or even Peach Gardens over 3DS Rainbow Road, but in terms of the transformation and in terms of what they've done to turn them into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe retro tracks, I feel like these 2 are like the perfect example for the rest of this wave to follow. But I gotta give an honourable mention to 3DS Rainbow Road because that road is immaculate.